8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Let's go to the phone lines with Tom. Good morning, Tom. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, morning, Tom. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to tell you all that, well, first of all, I really, really, really love the format. I love the education I get. I love it when you guys are going back and forth. But I
thanks.
also wanted to say that I happen to enjoy the introductory music to your show because it is totally unique. And when I hear it, I know I got to run for the radio.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, that's great.
That's great. Very kind of you. Way to get our Thursday kicked off so well. That was nice.
That. And thank you so much for spending time with us. Each and every one of you that spent even a little bit of your time with us. We know that you have so many other options out there, and you are busy. The fact that you turn on that radio, turn on that stream, go through all that problem to just hang out with us for a little while, that's crazy. We have a hard time wrapping our heads around that you would want to spend that much time with us. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We can never thank you enough, ever.
Well, I was up yesterday speaking at the Garfield County Republican Luncheon.
Yeah. Were they
which is in
serving lasagna?
Rifle.
Serving lasagna?
Nah, man, it's
Okay,
burgers.
Sorry.
By
Garfield
the way,
reference for the comic books fans there.
So, yeah.
Sorry. I had to do that one. That's how juvenile I am at times. Yes, go ahead.
By the way, it was in Rifle, and I drove up the night before, and I stayed at the La Quinta Inn. And outside, every single parking spot was taken with a pickup truck. Okay?
Nice.
And every pickup truck was covered in dirt, and they were all from the Union Pacific Railroad line. So they're doing some work up there somewhere. All the guys, right? Guys out there smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, good old boys. And they're all covered in dirt and mud. These are hard-working Americans. And I was hanging out, and I was like, man, Lauren Boebert came from Rifle.
Yeah.
Like, it just reminded me of like how salt of the earth she is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she just came from those hardworking people. And I think that's why she won her elections. People just love that.
Yeah,
so.
There's something that I have an appreciation for when your pickup truck is covered in gunk, or there's a bunch of random stuff that doesn't make sense in the bed. Like, you've got some old bolts rolling around. You've got a couple of loose wrenches. You've got something that's attached to a motor that looks like it does something important. Yeah, that we got to take out of the truck in order to fix on something. Those are the trucks I'm looking at going, I like what you're throwing down.
And I was up speaking to them, and they're asking about the radio show. And I said, I think I can confidently say this. Out of all the conservatives in Colorado, I talk to Democrats more than anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a daily basis.
Yes.
4 hours a day. And they were just like, they call in and you talk. I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We do it. We throw down on this show.
Yes, we do.
Get spicy sometimes, but there's no hatred.
No. And the thing is that this is an open conversation, unlike some of our Republican friends have down at the state legislature, where the Democrats just don't want to talk to them at all. They're like, you guys don't matter. So, and you're doing the hard work, and you show up at their events. You talk to them where they are. Yeah, you do more of that work than anybody else that sits on the conservative side of the aisle, than anybody else in the state.
Well, people are so hungry, and they love the idea of the show. So we've got new listeners from Garfield today being like, the discussion happens here. It's why we love our listeners so much.
Yeah, you guys are special.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in to the Jeff and Bill Show. All right, we got to talk here. Douglas County's school board rejecting charter school renewal proposals, tackles transgender policy on its last meeting. I've got some words for Tim Moore, who decided, what we're going to do, hand charter school renewals to this new progressive board. Oh, I've had my own headaches with progressive school boards in Douglas County. We had to get reauthorized where my kids go to school at the Colorado CSI, Colorado State Charter Initiative, or whatever it is it stands for. But we had to go above them because woke school board leaders don't like charter schools. And this should have gotten done yesterday, and I'm frustrated that it didn't. And now all these charter schools are going to have to deal with these dang progressives in Douglas County. They're going to want to funnel all your kids back into government-run education. We'll get to that. Now it's time, though, for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good Thursday morning. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill, 48 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 71 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story: the federal government is open. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. DJT signed a funding bill passed by Congress last night. Federal employees go back to work and they'll receive their back pay. The Schumer shutdown ends. Stephen Miller on Hannity last night. Got to have some Stephen Miller. Come on, we need that. Now it's going on. Here we go.
Chuck Schumer went to the wall and lost. Hakeem Jeffries went to the wall and lost. Because at the end of the day, they could not convince Americans that we should shut down the government to fund their pet programs, to fund free benefits for illegal aliens, to fund health care for people who shouldn't even be in this country. What's terrifying, though, Sean, to keep hitting on this theme, is that the moderates have been driven out of the Democrat Party. Manchin is gone. Sinema is gone. And everyone in that party understands that if they don't toe the line with the leftists, they'll be driven out too. So we, as a country, we don't have a mainstream Democrat Party. We don't have a moderate Democrat Party. We have a party of crazies and lunatics and radical leftists and open borders nut jobs. That's
Yes, absolutely. Meanwhile, after a ruling from a judge, federal food assistance will resume for the millions of people still waiting for their full November payments. They can thank Chucky Schumer for all of that. House Speaker Johnson says a bill compelling the Justice Department to release all of its Epstein case files will receive a vote on the House floor next week. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert from Rifle, joining Democrats in forcing a House vote to release the files. On Wednesday, Boebert kept her signature on a petition demanding the full release of the investigative files on Epstein. Last night, Boebert rejected a claim that she was feeling pressure from the administration, and she said she felt no pressure at all. Boebert is one of 4 Republicans who signed the petition, and Jeff talked to her, and she confirmed that last night via the old smartphone and text messages. All right, Jeff and Billy talking about Candace Owens last hour and all the podcast. And General Flynn says the American people need to know there's an open investigation in the Charlie Kirk case. No stone left unturned. Far too many questions, as you heard Brian talk about, one of our great callers. Man, I'm having problems here. Let me see. This thing freezing up again.
I love the Jeff and Bill show. The Jeff and Bill show is the best thing in the world.
You're being interfered with by the Jews.
That's great.
Okay, here we go.
Deny the things that we have seen, right? So videos and such, you can't deny this. Back to the truth and discernment. So all that I get it all the time, is just let us know that there's an open investigation. We're looking at everything. And I think if that was the answer, I think everybody they wouldn't shut up and go home, but they would at least temper down and say, okay, the FBI's got this, and I believe that they do. But I do believe that there's other things that must be looked at. There has to be looked at, because we have already learned this with the assassinations of many people going back to the 60s, right?
Yep, and JFK.
But no, hold on. Is there a single thing that's happened that there's not a conspiracy theory about?
Oh, probably not. But
right? Well, you can name anything. The assassination attempts against Donald Trump, Butler, Florida,
which didn't 9/11,
Charlie Kirk.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like anything that happens in this country is a conspiracy.
Okay, so here's all right. To me, this is just
come
me.
on, throw down,
all
Blake.
Here
Let's
we
go.
It isn't about the Jews, Jeff. It's about the Israeli government. It doesn't have anything to do with Jews. It's about the Israeli government right now, which, from what I've been able to gather, is not very popular in Israel right now. So that's number one.
Let's start there. There's always been unpopularity in elections that take place.
Absolutely.
And so that's not new.
That's just politics. You're right. And that's what all I'm saying, this is what they are saying. Candace Owens of the world. And I'll tell you what, here are three things that I wrote down that jump out where I believe she has a point here. Number one, that create questions for me. Number one, probably the biggest one. Why wasn't there an ambulance there? That's number one. Number two, when you talk to hunters and people who shoot 30-06s, I've shot a 30-06, and that freaking thing is powerful, and it would have decapitated Charlie, more than likely, and gone through the other end and through the tent. That's a question that she has brought up. And tons of people in the military and hunters evidently have told her that. And I kind of agree with her on that. And it doesn't look like an entry wound. It looks like an exit wound. The video guy, that was absolute. That bothered me when he stood up on the chair. I think that's a crime
cheering?
scene, right?
Yeah, and started cheering? That guy?
No. The video guy from Turning Point. He gets up on the chair that Charlie was sitting on, and he takes down the camera that was right above him. Okay. I think that's a crime scene. I'm not sure. I don't know if the crime scene is where the shooter was or where it occurred. So he's stepping all over the freaking chair. He's taking down the camera, taking the card out of the camera, and then records this odd video. You've seen that, I'm sure. Maybe you haven't. I'm not sure. But he's the video guy for Turning Point. So he shoots this weird video afterward. There are two police officers, plainclothes police officers, who are watching him do this, and he says something to them, and they kind of walk away, and it looks like they're thinking, hey, don't mess with the crime scene here. This is like 4 minutes after the assassination. So those things raise a red flag to me, and there are numerous
I want to
others.
throw something in about the idea of the crime scene. And one, that photographer, he just saw one of his good friends get shot in front of him. So the idea that he could make some questionable decisions in that aftermath of the stress is completely and totally reasonable.
Agreed.
And if he is thinking about, we need to preserve X, Y, or Z, or we need to hang on to this, it would not be unreasonable for him to go over there and to secure it until someone says to us or proves that the SD card has disappeared and or is blank. I don't see anything there. And before we talk about, this is weird that this guy trampled all over the crime scene, I refer back to the John Benet Ramsey investigation. That with the permission of the police, they let a whole bunch of family members walk all over that house.
I remember that.
And that was a crime scene. And the reason I bring that up is nobody goes back to John Benet Ramsey and says, this is a giant conspiracy. That's the issue, that just because something happened like this at the crime scene does not equate conspiracy. It means possibly bad police work or an unsecure situation. That's it. So that's where I push back on the idea that going from, well, this happened, obviously conspiracy. Bring up John Benet Ramsey. That's just where I'm going with that one.
Tell me what you think the Israeli government gets by assassinating Charlie Kirk.
Well, I saw, as I told you, I think I told you last night, and I'll try to find them. I saw 2 or 3 interviews with Charlie that I wasn't even aware of in the past 6 months, where he was extremely critical. And it just, you start asking questions. So that is that's what I've seen. And yes, even the guy talking to the bush, I get it. I mean, there are a lot of things.
So let's talk Jews and maybe their concern about Charlie Kirk, okay? Because I've had some conversations with Jewish leaders around the time that Charlie was dying, and they were concerned about the right losing its support of Israel, right? So the Nick Fuenteses, right? And I had a phone call, and it was, Jeff, what do you think? And I'm like, well, what I would encourage you to do is look at creating videos around evangelicals in particular having great experiences going to Israel. Traveling to the Holy Land, because I've been to Israel. I don't know, Blake, have you ever been to Israel?
I have not. Always wanted
so
to.
You have this like very emotional connection with being in the place where Jesus walked, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they're like, and the Jewish leaders I was talking to, they're like, wow, that's great. That's great. We want people to connect with their values and that religious experience. That's good. What about confronting some of these conspiracy theories? Well, I said, I think you take them head on. It was a very reasonable conversation. There was concern there, but never once was there any, we need to take out anybody, or we need to formulate a plan. Not saying that as a radio host, they'd bring me in on that, but just here's what I found particularly Jewish leaders at that time trying to do. Confront disinformation, win conservatives back over to understand the importance of Israel, recognize that there's disinformation happening, and they were logical, reasonable, perfectly fine conversations, like I would with anybody else that wants to advance their issue in the public square, right? So I didn't see or know of anybody that had real frustrations with Charlie Kirk to the point where he needed to be assassinated. I mean, Charlie was this good bridge builder. Like, even if you think there was a conspiracy, why would you want to take out the guy that's able to communicate better than anybody else to the entire conservative movement?
Because he's been critical of them the past year and a half.
But not really, not at the level that other people have. I mean, there's been other really vicious criticism.
Yeah, but
that
I mean, you're
talking
about
so
one
why
of the
would they kill him?
smartest guys on the planet, one of the most influential guys, young people, generationally. I mean, this is a guy we all looked at and said, yeah, he could be the president in 12 years.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
So the solution is to execute him? No, if he's so powerful, it absolutely makes more sense to win him over to your side and have him share that messaging with other people that have kind of lost their way.
I agree.
Than it is to decapitate him. That's why it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make, none of it makes any sense to me. It doesn't. So, I mean, even the guy, back to the camera guy, I mean, my mind, after going through all the JFK stuff, now I look at everything over the past 30, 35 years, 40 years, and I'm like, wait a minute, how do I know there was a card in that camera? How do I know that, how do we know that the camera didn't have a card in it to record all this? Because if they brought the camera down and said, okay, let's look at the card. Oh, wait, there's no card in here. Why wasn't I'm just saying, this is where my mind goes. And everyone's mind goes. That's why there are 500,000 people watching that every day. And, some of it is garbage. Some of it is legitimate. I mean,
I don't want to dismiss legitimate questions, but Blake, this is...
Next hour, I'm going to play you a soundbite that kind of turned my thinking on it about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to try to find it, and look, I'll play it for you at 9 o'clock.
But we're at a place now where you have tremendous division taking place within the conservative movement. One of the most downloaded podcasts in the world now is literally a spiking of the coalition that Charlie was able to build. With
I agree.
Distrust being built. The only thing that's coming from this is a weaker conservative movement, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and that frustrates me.
Yeah, I agree. And nothing's greater than the truth, though. And and shedding light on all of it. Ultimately for everyone, for Americans, and for the Conservative Party. or conservatives in the Republican Party. All right, I just have to mention this. The Nikola Jokic scored 55 on the Clippers last night. Broncos get ready for the Chiefs coming up this weekend. 45 in Aurora, 46 in Littleton, 48 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson News Talk 710 KNUS.
We'll continue with this unseasonably warm, dry weather until we get to the end of the weekend and into next week when the weather does finally begin to change and get a little bit more like November. Short term, though, unseasonably warm. Temperatures getting into the upper 60s and lower to mid-70s today. 60s and lower 70s Friday and Saturday. Increasingly cloudy 60s Sunday. Chance of showers Sunday night into Monday, and as we get into Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, expect a cooling trend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
You got to love this show because there's days I feel like I have to debate the progressives and days I have to debate the other side. Blake and I having the debates today.
Yeah, this is interesting. Normally it's me and Blake. This is great.
Me stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Douglas County School Board. Okay. What the heck, guys? All right, voters. Well, enjoy what you got with the new board coming in. We talked to them. If you think they're going to respect your charter school, I've got other news for you. My kids attend a charter school in Douglas County, and when we wanted to arm teachers following the school shootings, the school board, which was, I think, progressive at the time, it's kind of bounces back and forth, was like, arm teachers? Absolutely not. The only people we want with guns are school shooters. So they used that, or they actually used our charter abilities, like their little ability to renew our charters, to try to get us to stop arming staff at our charter school. And so we had to go above them to what is called the CSI, which is the Charter School Institute, the Colorado Charter School Institute, CSI, that is 9 board members that oversee basically an alternative chartering opportunity for charter schools in Colorado when you get woke districts that want to force their politics on your schools and threaten to not renew your charter to keep the school going. And we got approval there. And so we're at a place where we feel like our kids are protected. We like it. We're happy as parents. Parents get to choose to send their kids to the school if they want to. They don't have to, but if they want to, it's an option. But I have personally been affected by woke, liberal school boards that will use the charter processing in order to drive their agenda. Well, last night, with the opportunity to give the charter schools in Douglas County 10 years without having to deal with this woke school board, they decided not to. The outgoing members of the Douglas County School District, the Denver Gazette writes, spent their final meeting on Tuesday debating a last-minute proposal to amend charter school contract renewal timelines. The current board also discussed but took no action on a proposal dealing with transgender athletes. Progressive-leaning members are set to take over the conservative board in about 2 weeks. Tuesday's meeting, which took place after the November 4th election that brought in 4 new progressive-leaning directors to the school body, lasted more than 7 hours. They literally didn't get anything done, Bill.
7 hours?
7 hours, bro.
I'm sorry, that's just, here's the thing from it, that Golly. 1, volunteer position, 2, that's dumb. I'm sorry, but if your meeting like that runs 7 hours, this is just a personal critique. You're bad at meetings. You don't know how to do these things. If you can't advance something within that time frame, whatever it is, over the course of 7 hours, that's ridiculous. Y'all are awful at time management. And, and the idea of subject debate and a bunch of other stuff. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's just the amount of time. That is a phenomenal waste of time on these things. That's ridiculous. I can't understand 7 hours.
Christy Williams, the outgoing Douglas County School Board president, had introduced both proposals. The board narrowly rejected the proposal to change the renewal process for, quote, high-performing charters, unquote, from a 5-year to a 10-year interval on a 4-3 vote. Board member Tim Moore initially appeared to favor the proposal, though he was on the fence over legal concerns, ultimately voted no. Under the proposed charter school change, schools up for renewal would automatically receive 10 additional years without submitting paperwork or undergoing review. Charters would still be subjected to a review at 5 years. Prior to Tuesday's meetings, Williams had told the Denver Gazette that the resolution arose out of a request brought forward by one of our long-standing charters. Yeah, no joke. I did not realize how divisive the charter topic is, said Moore, who became the deciding vote. The people who showed up were split, although the majority of the people who testified spoke against the proposal. The idea that a sitting board should handcuff future elected officials because they might ask hard questions. Yeah, that's all they're going to do. With accountability is the opposite of good governance. This is not protection. This is entrenchment, said Lori Wright. Miles Cortez, board chair of the Challenger to Excellent Charter School, said there's been misinformation about the proposal. This resolution does not change anything with respect to monitoring, oversight, or accountability. Nothing in that regard changes. Cortez argued that a longer renewal term provides financial flexibility, allowing for better management of school resources. As for claims of lack of accountability, Cortez said charters have more accountability and oversight and do more reporting than neighborhood schools. It's true. It's absolutely true. It frankly should have been done already, Cortez said of the proposal. We're here because we have to be. Tim Moore, thank you for setting up all the charters in Douglas County to deal with the politics of the new board coming in. Because as I have seen, and as I've perfectly demonstrated, they will use this chartering renewal process to drive their politics into these charter schools. And you, Tim Moore, had the opportunity to protect these charter schools from this, and you failed. If anyone knows Tim Moore, please tell him to call into the show and explain himself, because it's going to be hell for the next however many years for charter schools in Douglas County. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But these progressives hate school choice, want to force all of your kids back into government-run education, and kids will suffer as a result of it, because all they're going to do is become little Marxists. Can't complete any actual standardized tests. That wasn't the only thing last night. Transgender athletes. The outgoing members urged the next board to continue the discussion around transgender policies. Williams said she had hoped the new board would survey our district, talk to parents about the very topic, because I think it's extremely important. I believe we have a duty to protect young women in our schools. That includes their right to compete in fair playing fields and access safe sex-specific spaces like locker rooms and overnight accommodations. Bill, we asked these new board members about it. You remember what their pathetic excuse was?
I don't remember the answers.
You remember it? It was at we're not allowed to say anymore, a certain breakfast location.
Yeah. So it's pancakes.
Corporate.
Internationally. Yes. Yeah.
That might even be too much.
Might be.
We asked them if they were going to protect women's sports, keep men out of it. You remember what their answer was?
No, I don't.
We don't think it's the best use of district resources to engage in frivolous lawsuits.
Oh, yeah, because there are other lawsuits going through at the time.
And then I asked them, well, what do you believe? And it was the longest 30-second pause in the radio show that day as they tried to dance around their actual belief on this.
Yeah,
Good night, Douglas County.
Yeah.
Enjoy your woke, progressive, government-run education, because that's all you're getting.
Yeah, on part of the couple of things on one is that I got questions if we're only reviewing charter schools every 5, but we do somewhat of an annual review on public. that on the traditional public schools. I got a question on that as far as why the charters are given necessarily a 5-year window when we grade on an annual basis the public part of this. I mean, again, I'm not saying there's anything nefarious I'm just looking at the idea of why you'd only do a 5-year review versus a singular, annual review with the other public schools. I just want to know, the theory behind it, what it would be happening.
Well, I think there. I think there's two different things there. They get annual updates from the schools all the time. It's taking the time to go through and consider whether or not to continue the charter school. That's the review process that takes place every 5 years. Like, that's an in-depth debate as to whether or not we're going to continue allowing this charter school to operate. They're getting the same statistics, same finances, same test score results as every other school. It's just we don't do that with government-run schools either. We don't go every year. Should we keep the little local neighborhood school around?
Well, I think the district sort of does in a sense, because schools yearly inside of a district have reallocation of resources and certain, as far as number of teachers that are needed. There are teachers that sometimes will lose their job because there aren't enough third graders. So now they don't need enough third grade teachers. And if you can't transition or there isn't another job inside of that school, you're gone. So there is somewhat of an annual review process. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. And I'm not necessarily against the idea of a major review almost on a yearly basis on some of these charter schools, because there are a couple of reasons for that. One, I want to make sure that if they're doing this, that they are being effective. Two, I want to get the bad schools out of the system as quickly as possible. And three, if there's something that the regular public schools can learn from what the charters are doing, I want that to be part of the conversation as quickly as possible. However, I also admit I'm probably asking a little too much from the school board and for the change inside the school. I may be doing pie in the sky type of wishes. This may not be anything that could be accomplished. So I might just be that kid that is promising everybody we're going to get Coca-Cola in the water fountains here at the middle school. So I understand this could be completely and totally just crap on that one. The other one is I understand the transgender athletes issue. I would be curious, before I make it a priority in the school district, I would be curious to see the percentage of students inside of Douglas County that are transgender that want to participate in the sport of the gender they identify with. For me, before I spend a lot of time in debate and making a policy, I want to see the extent of the issue and the impact of the issue. If it is something that
What's the issue here? What's the issue?
What?
Boys shouldn't be in girls' sports. What analysis do you need to do on that?
Well, here's the thing. We possibly could have something where the transgender person could be competing in an intramural sport there, not necessarily something else.
Just write that as a policy.
And again,
why do we have to do research?
Here's the idea. Is it a significant issue? What is the total number of kids inside of the school population that are going to be?
One.
Okay.
What if it's one?
I'm not necessarily as worried about it, and I'm not necessarily certain. Yeah, I'm not necessarily certain.
One dude participating on a women's track team and taking away all their awards is not an issue that we should be concerned about.
See, here's the thing. And now you've added a whole bunch of qualifiers. One dude on this track team that's taking all the awards.
Why don't you just make a policy? Why do you
different.
need to do research on it?
Because I want to know before I make a policy whether or not is this a significant issue. I mean, that's the idea. It
has to be significant for you to say. So,
yes, it does.
Tell me how many girls have to lose out on their scholarships for it to be considered significant?
I don't know. I'd have to look at percentage of population.
One girl.
I don't know.
One girl. That makes it unfair.
No. Again, I'm not arguing necessarily fairness. I'm talking about significance, whether I want the school board to get involved in a policy, because we could probably come up with a whole bunch of policies that would only deal with one kid in the entire district. And that's what I would want to know, is I'd need to know the significance of what the possible issue is and then what the consequences of that is. That if we have one person that is dominating on this track team and winning all the awards, then I think we might have a significant issue. But if it is one transgender person playing on the intramural basketball team during lunch or after school, I'm not that concerned about making a policy about it. I'm looking at significance because, again, this is a board that spent 7 hours. You obviously have an issue with priorities. I need to know this is a priority beforehand, not just the people who are concerned about it. I want to know the significance of the population and the impact inside the school before I go around and making the rules.
It's a policy. It's super easy. I don't get it. All right, give us a call. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. All right, folks, let's talk about Gyrie's. My wife and I have had a wonderful experience working with them to update the blinds in our home. We got to sit down with their professional designers, and they showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to home improvement, so having a pro was great. It didn't cost a ton. My wife got to ask lots of questions, and best of all, they brought out samples to our house so we could see what the curtains and drapes and shutters would look like, plus what different colors would look like inside our home. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. And like I said, they'll come directly to your home, even with lasers to measure everything. So get the same expert advice we got right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the Douglas County School Board on its last meeting deciding not to create some protections for the charter schools there. People aren't happy. I was reading one comment online. Oh, never mind. It's gone. It refreshed. But they were basically saying Tim Moore really let people down. He was kind of the deciding vote on this. And what you're going to get now in Douglas County is a woke progressive school board, I think almost unanimously. I think it's 7, okay? That's what you got. They're going to go after charter schools because woke hates choice. And they especially hate parents being involved. They want control. And they want the control through these government-run educations. They want to control the curriculum. They want your children indoctrinated. And they're going to use the power of the charter renewal, which is a contract renewal that takes place every 5 years. And what conservatives had the opportunity to do was to protect these charter schools by extending it to 10 years so that these charter schools don't have to worry about what the new progressive school board is going to do to them. And they decided not to. And this is like, these types of conservatives drive me crazy, where they're like, I think we should maybe respect the process a little bit more. This is why people love Donald Trump now, because he's just like, no, we're getting what we want. And you're going to have to deal with it. And now this Tim Moore guy, who was supposed to support it, apparently was supposed to be one of the kids' first thing, backed away at the last second. And now all these charter schools are going to face problems. Like, step up. Have some cojones and drive your agenda to the very end. And then for the next 4 years, the progressives can do whatever they want. How do you have a 7-hour meeting on your last day with conservative control of the school board and you just basically get nothing done and you screw over all the families that are in charter schools and then you walk out?
Yeah, for me,
congratulations, Douglas. God.
For me, regardless of the results either side wanted, the thing for me is just there's no results. That a 7-hour meeting and nothing's really accomplished is, again, that's just a waste of time. It's that's a phenomenal waste of time. If it took you this long to get to the conclusion that we're not going to pass either one of these things, then you're wasting time. That is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of time to spend doing nothing. If those weren't going to pass, that could have been done probably a lot earlier than that. I can't wrap my head around the fact that it took you 7 hours to do nothing.
All right, Bill,
I have teenagers. I've seen this before.
Bill, talk me off the ledge that this progressive school board is not going to tank every charter school in the community.
I don't know. Again, it depends. And for me, and this is what it depends on. One, I would love to see some of the split inside of Douglas County, just based on votes. And what I'm saying is, if the school board tanks all the charter schools, how quickly are they moved out? How quickly would a lot of Douglas County voters who might have been very passive in the past election, not worried about it because they didn't think things were under threat, how quickly would that motivate people? How quickly would they, based on trying to grab everything they want, get themselves out of a job? And it's like what we talk about with the new mayor in New York, Mamdani, that if he goes to the idea that we need to have a city-run grocery store in every neighborhood, he is going to fail hard and fast. But if he picks 2 or 3 areas and can show success, then he might have a good plank to then run for re-election. So that's what I'm curious about, is the new Douglas County School Board going to be absolutely ideologically driven and going to try to accomplish as much as they can during a limited window? Or are they more concerned about staying in their jobs longer than one cycle and looking at affecting change that way, whatever they think that change may be? And I think that's the danger, is if they come in and say, now we're in power and we change everything. I think that is a recipe for their disaster. Not just the school district, but just their disaster. I don't think they last if they come in and try to do a wholesale change like that.
You know, Bill,
Yeah.
I wish I could trust voters to analyze the impact of policy decisions and make better decisions moving forward.
Hang on a sec. I think that is a much too long sentence. You could have just stopped after voters. I can't
I could trust voters.
Yes, that's it.
Right.
That's where the sentence should have ended. But yeah, go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
No, I mean, this is the state of Colorado in right now. It's like everyone keeps electing progressives, then complains about the direction of the state, and then elects progressives.
Yeah. And part of the problem for me is that with both the conservative and the liberal school boards that we've had across the state, and I've been very open about my critique of what is wrong inside of our public education system.
Shouldn't exist.
I don't think that either group is really focused on what the problem is. I feel both sides are arguing politics and policy, not educational outcomes and functionability. And that's where I think a lot of the problems exist and why we're not seeing changes that should be happening inside of Colorado schools across the state. Is I think people are too distracted by the jangly little keys that deal with politics rather than some of the core problems that exist inside the schools. And the number one I always talk about, discipline. I don't see either side really concerned and really focused on discipline issues inside of the schools in their district. That's me.
Bill, I offered a solution to all of this, and then it was used against my wife.
What was that?
Do you remember this?
No, remind us.
The discipline issue. Raise up an army of nuns, hand them rulers, and just send them into the classrooms.
Oh, no.
Bill,
I had nuns.
I just solved the discipline issue for you.
I had nuns. And
yes, tell me why.
There are good and there are bad ones.
Oh, I want all the bad ones.
No,
give me the bad
you
ones.
Don't. No. And again, I have got a particular there is a nun that is in.
One. I know.
There's
Tell me
one.
all about her.
Here's the thing.
I want her name.
Oh, no, not her. Here's the idea is
Yeah.
there is one nun that is so important to my educational career. She is one of the best teachers I ever
Don't want the good
had.
ones. Who's the bad ones?
She was
Bill,
fantastic.
The one that lives in your mind and terrifies you.
Here's
you
the one.
shoot up in the middle of the night.
This is the one.
I want those nuns. Everywhere.
This is the one that I still hold on to, and I don't know her name because it wasn't my teacher. It was the nun that taught my father, and my father's left-handed. And at the time, being left-handed, that's a sign of the devil. The devil is part of you, young child, and we must get this out of you. So this nun, knowing my father was left-handed, put his desk up against the wall on his left side so that he could not write. He had the inability to write with his left hand as far as penmanship.
Yeah.
And because of that, you know what he ended up doing? And again, you can imagine this. And I will show in front of the camera right now as well.
Go ahead.
What he had to do with the wall being up on this side is he learned to curve his arm around and write upside down. So that's how he managed to continue to write.
Look at the intimidation.
Yeah.
Bring that to all these schools.
Yeah.
You just said that discipline's the biggest problem.
And here's the thing. That discipline didn't work. He's still left-handed. They just made his educational system
I said the word
painful.
nuns, and you sat up straighter than I've seen you ever sit up.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, and again, there are some great nuns. I just,
don't want the good one. I want the bad ones. I want fear.
There were some that are amazing. Oh, and
then we're going to turn this whole thing around.
The one I feared, and shout out to everybody that's a product of J.K. Mullen, Sister Brendan. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, Sister Brendan caught us goofing off in the cafeteria one day, and we got detention for a week. Did we deserve detention for a week? Yeah, absolutely. 110% we did.
Look at that. That's like a core fear.
Oh yeah, she kicked him out of class in religion class freshman year. Yeah, she and I went round and round.
Denver public schools invaded by an army of nuns with rulers.
However,
beautiful.
I bring them in. I bring in Sister Maida. Every one of those kids in the school is going to know English. They're going to be able to conjugate verbs and everything else. She took no prisoners.
It's funny. my mom was educated in Catholic schools too, and she does the same kind of shudder.
Oh
that
yeah,
you do.
Yeah. There's some that you're like, oh boy, yeah. But there's one that, oh my God, she was one of the best teachers I ever had, and she pushed me beyond what I thought I had the ability to do in her class. Yeah, it was incredible.
All right, we're so far over a break. We're going to continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Meter. You know the deal. 710 KNUS. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the Douglas County School Board biffing it big time on their last meeting with conservatives in control, a 7-hour meeting to nowhere. They had the opportunity to protect charter schools from this new progressive wing that's going to take control of the school board. They didn't do it. They had the opportunity to try to protect women from men competing in their sports. They didn't do it. And I got a text message here saying word on the street is that the new school board may also try to remove SROs from the schools. Considering we fought to arm our teachers, that might be the only protection anymore between crazed
That's interesting.
school shooter.
I'd be curious about the justification for that, to remove the SROs. And the only reason is because we understand how well that went in Denver public schools at East High School when they removed the
Bill,
SRO and the person
stop
doing
using logic.
Yeah, I'd be curious what the justification is. Why? That would be the number one question. Maybe that's the 7 hour meeting.
Feelings, Bill.
Oh, no, not the feelings again.
All right, we'll continue.
This is so much
This is
fun.
the middle class moving out of Colorado. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader. We're 710 KNUS.